Okay, we are going to work on assignment 3 today. And assignment 3 is all about composition and basically commercial techniques to add power to your subject matter and content in photography. So this is just a photo of the object I am going to be working with, just so you can see what it is. And you can see from this photo where I didn't think about how to compose it in the space, and I don't have any particular lighting on it, no matter how I adjust it, it's not going to be all that interesting, even if I do it in monochrome, even if I take the contrast really strong. There's a limit to the visual interest this can have without putting some thought into how we shoot it. So having a vision ahead of time. So that's what this assignment, called the effective object assignment, is all about. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is hold this object in my hands and look at my camera. And then I'm going to open up my sketchbook, and I will imitate that for you here, just in Photoshop, so I can show you what the sketching looks like. All right, so pretend this is a sketchbook page. And the reason I need to have my camera or a recent photo that I've taken, so I can do that easily enough. So take maybe one of my texture exposures, like this. What I need to be informed by is what the exact dimensions of my picture plane are. So, what is 8.6 by 12.9? What does that look like? It's basically a 4 by 6 dimension. So when I draw, I'm trying to draw the exact format of my camera, because for the first time we're not allowed to crop for this assignment. Exactly. So what does 4 by 6 look like? Well, if I can think of kind of units of 1, be 4 squares this way. And you can use a ruler if you like to, but generally it's good to try to match it visually. And 6 squares this way. And there is quite a big difference between a 4 by 5, which would be this kind of square, right? It's rectangular, but it's very different than 4 by 6, which is what my camera shoots at. And different cameras have different aspect ratios. Polaroids traditionally have square formats like Hasselblad cameras. But most of the time they will be some form of rectangle, because that is what gives you the most options. All right, so I know that my camera is roughly this size. So that's my frame. And you can be pretty sketchy, but you do want to try to get that size right. Come on. Here we go. Okay, but I need you in your sketchbook to be able to fit 5 of these things in with space in between. And some of them should be what's called landscape format, like this, longer or wider than they are tall. And some of them should be portrait format. And all roughly the same size, right? So you can kind of see them. And these are called thumbnail sketches. They're called thumbnails because they're small and they're quick. And you leave room around them so that you can judge each of their compositions individually. So now I've got my 5. Now I'm going to sketch within those compositions. And the rules for this project, just like for any kind of product photo shoot, is to fit your whole object within the frame. So you keep cropping really minimal. Your goal is to get the whole object shown in the most effective way possible. And you don't need to draw very well, but you do need to be looking at your object from different angles. So this is kind of looking from above, putting it in the center. Now your first sketch is never going to be a good one because you're just getting used to it. And if we remember the rule of thirds, we're going to use some basic compositional rules here. We want maximum eye movement, dynamic eye movement across the space. So putting something dead center like this does is kind of a big no-no, right? It doesn't engage any of this space at all. So then I'm reminded of that by sketching, and I think, okay, I like that position though, so I'll do it in a portrait format, which is taller than it is wide instead. And maybe I'll angle it a little bit. So that the base is more diagonal. So another rule besides good dynamic composition rule, besides avoid dead center, is avoid horizontals and verticals. So how does this look in the space? Well, if I do the third lines, yeah, it's going to bring kind of prominence to the eye area of this and some of the focal points I like, which are the scars and stuff. So yeah, this one's okay. But it's still fairly central. And its shadow, like whatever its shadow might be doing in terms of lighting, might not be doing too much that's interesting. So let me maybe play with that, what I can do with the shadow. So another shot, notice how these are both posed in a very similar way. You really want to allow yourself to mess with how you're looking at it. Like maybe I'll look at it from behind and looking up at it a little bit, compose it in a different way. And I have all these cracks in the back of the rock. Again, avoiding horizontals and verticals. And I'm seeing the ear and the back of the head and this little tic-tac-toe game that's at the back. So there's plenty of different options. And if we look at the rule of thirds for that, and I'm doing that all in a separate layer just so, for the most part, so I can turn it on. Yeah, that makes the tic-tac-toe kind of the main subject matter. And then also these cracks, which I really like. It gets away from always just focusing on the eyes and reading as a portrait. So I'm liking that composition the best so far. Generally, I find my third one is pretty good because I've been addressing the main problems. You want to get out of the common pitfalls of composition, which are just taking things from straight angles, like straight from the side, like a silhouette photo. too much horizontal and vertical. But this is better than if it was right in the middle, right? It just depends on what you're doing, because it lines up with the third lines. But those horizontals kind of slow it down. So maybe I say, okay, well, maybe take that general idea, but then have it, we're kind of looking above it, and the base is at an angle, but it's smaller, it uses more empty space, and it still lines up with that third line. And then maybe I can get the shadows to kind of activate this space a little bit. Okay, so the minimum is you have to do 5. You can always do more, and you're going to shoot a lot more than 5 exposures trying different things. But you're going to turn in your sketches, and what I would like you to do is indicate which ones are your favorites. So far I'm liking this one right here, and I'm liking this one. So those are the 2 approaches I'm going to take. And do a lot of variations. I understand why these 2 are stronger than any of these. Okay. All right. I could also, while I'm shooting, I don't want to limit the possibilities of other shots, like maybe really dramatically different shots, like shooting it from the bottom. Like that, just showing the base and other things. And you can try a lot in shooting, and it's a good idea to try a lot in shooting. But that's all up to you. But the 5 are what I require. I think you need that many to just fully understand your subject matter. And you want to remember that these are called thumbnail sketches. And they're not about lighting, they're all about composition, about how you're going to place your subject in a way that's more powerful than just any random shot would be. Where'd it go? Like my screenshot here. So this might describe the object, but it's not the most powerful placement of it to really engage the eye, and that's what we're after. Okay, now my job is to sketch these in my sketchbook, and this is what I've done. Sorry, now my job is to actually get the exposures. Now the other rule is that it has to be on a white background. So let me show you how I set that up in the lab here, and how I would set it up if I were doing this project at home. What I do is I take a flat wall, the front wall of the classroom in this case, and I put some sort of box or crate to elevate my subject matter a little bit. I put a piece of cardboard or stiff foam core on top of that to create an even surface. Sometimes I will tilt that surface if I need to. So you can put a little, I'll use bean bags, but you can get a slightly tilted surface. Sometimes you need that. That's optional. Then you secure to the wall your background. And in this case, I'm going to use a white banner. It's kind of a vinyl, somewhat reflective material. It would be better if it wasn't reflective at all. But you could just use white paper. And the reason you do it like this, and at photo studios they'll just do it at the corner of a room. They have their photo backdrops, and they just drape it on the floor like that, is so you don't get any hard edges in your shot. So the way I have it set up today, I don't have anything underneath the foam core right now, so right now it's draping like that, which gives me a flat surface. But because my sketches that I'm interested in